Welcome back, everyone, to another Explainer. Look, the energy today is absolutely off the charts because we are gearing up for the literal pinnacle of international football. We're talking July 19th, MetLife Stadium, the reigning European champions, Spain, squaring off against the defending World Champions Argentina in the 2026 World Cup final. Today, we're diving deep into the predictions for this monumental Spain versus Argentina clash, and more importantly, why the underlying data is telling a very specific story. We're going to break down the tactics, the historic trends, and figure out who is actually favored to lift that trophy.
But, all right, before we get into the heavy data analysis, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. I know you've probably seen this eerie, viral social media post from 5 years ago floating around. It literally just says, Argentina just beat Spain at the 2026 World Cup final, 3-2. Millions of people are sharing this right now, genuinely wondering if it's some kind of destiny. But you know us, here in this Explainer, we don't really do spooky internet prophecies. We run on evidence. So let's set the stage right now and see if the hard tactical data actually backs up that exact scoreline.
Okay, let's get right into it. Taking a quick look at how these two absolute juggernauts reached the final, this is actually a historic first. We've got the current European Championship winners facing off directly against the current Copa America winners in the grand finale. It's the ultimate showdown. But man, when you trace their paths to MetLife Stadium, their journeys could not have been more fundamentally different.
Just contrast the philosophies that got them here. On one hand, you have Spain putting on an absolute masterclass in efficiency. Under Luis de la Fuente, they've evolved that classic tiki-taka into a much more direct, aggressive system. And the result? Clinical, 90-minute victories, like that dominant 2-0 win over a super strong French squad. They are coming in rested and composed. And then, there's Argentina. Their journey has been chaotic, to say the least. Lionel Scaloni's guys are battle-tested, enduring these grueling, extra-time epics against Cape Verde and Switzerland, not to mention that wild, heart-stopping 3-2 comeback against Egypt when they were down 2 goals. They are basically running on pure grit and dramatic resilience at this point.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer scale of the tactical mismatch. When you look at these two squads side by side on paper, you're looking at completely inverse strengths. It's the classic unstoppable force meets an immovable object scenario. And the underlying data, well, it reveals exactly where this match is going to be won or lost.
Just look at these underlying metrics. Spain's defense has been, frankly, impenetrable. Over the entire tournament, they have conceded exactly 1 goal. 1, and that was to Belgium. Plus, they are riding this insane 37-match unbeaten streak. It's just a flawless, highly organized defensive transition. But then flip over to Argentina's numbers. They've conceded 7 goals, so the vulnerability is definitely there. But their attack is spectacularly lethal. 19 goals scored.
But to really grasp Argentina's attack, you have to look at their terrifying clutch mentality. I mean, the numbers here are just staggering. They've scored 11 goals in this tournament after the 79th minute. They literally refuse to die. Think back to that semi-final against England, when Thomas Tuchel completely shifted the game's architecture in the 71st minute, pulling Anthony Gordon for Ezri Konsa to set up this rigid 5-3-2 defensive block. Argentina didn't blink. They pounced. They just relentlessly bombarded the English penalty area and flipped a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 victory right at the death.
Which brings us to the ultimate tension-building question, right? Can Lionel Messi's inevitable genius dismantle Spain's flawless tiki-taka 2.0 system? We saw how Messi recognized the fatal flaw in that English bunker. He just drifted into the right half space and delivered 2 surgically precise late assists to Enzo Fernandez and Lautaro Martinez, completely shattering England's dreams. But here's the catch. Spain isn't going to sit back in a terrified 5-3-2. They are a well-oiled possession-hoarding machine. Can South American magic break a team that literally just refuses to give you the ball?
Well, according to the world's most advanced predictive models, the magic might actually fall just a bit short. The Opta supercomputer probability, after running countless simulations of this exact matchup, gives Spain a 45.1% chance of wrapping this up with a victory inside the standard 90 minutes. To put that in perspective, Argentina's probability of a 90-minute win is sitting way down at 29.4%. And the sportsbooks are totally echoing this, mathematically placing Spain as the clear favorites.
So, based on the totality of the tactical data, the structural organization, and the physical metrics we've pulled from our sources, the consensus is pretty undeniable. The predictive models are projecting a 2-1 victory for Spain, which, directly contradicts that viral 5-year-old 3-2 tweet we looked at earlier. The data is heavily suggesting that the technical superiority of the European champions is going to prevail here. But the big question is, why exactly?
Our source material points to 3 distinct tactical pillars that explain exactly why the models favor Spain in New Jersey. Those are midfield control, wing overload, and physical freshness. So let's break these down one by one, just so you know exactly what to keep an eye on the second that referee blows the whistle.
Pillar number 1 is midfield control. Spain is operating with arguably the best midfield trio on the planet right now. By leaning on Rodri and Fabian Ruiz, they dictate the entire tempo of the game through relentless ball possession. Their main goal? Starve the Argentine supply line. If Rodri can effectively cut off those passing lanes from Enzo Fernandez and Alexis McAllister, it forces Messi to drop dangerously deep into his own half just to get a touch on the ball, and that completely blunts Argentina's attacking threat.
Then we move to pillar number 2, wing overload. Because Spain doesn't just pass you to death through the middle anymore, they attack with terrifying pace on the flanks. We are talking specifically about Nico Williams and that absolute phenomenon, the record-breaking 18-year-old Lamine Yamal. Yamal's ability to dribble and just conjure space out of thin air is a total nightmare for defenders. Our sources point out that Argentina's fullbacks, especially Nahuel Molina, have really struggled against raw pace this tournament. Spain is absolutely going to exploit those wide areas, forcing the Argentine defense to constantly play in reverse.
And finally, we wrap up our tactical breakdown with pillar number 3, physical freshness. You literally cannot ignore the toll of extra time. Argentina is walking into this final physically and emotionally completely drained. They've had to navigate multiple 120-minute matches and these deeply exhausting late-game comebacks. Spain, meanwhile, they're entering this final incredibly fresh. They've systematically dispatched massive opponents like France in crisp, clean 90-minute displays. Once that clock hits the 80th minute, all those extra miles on Argentina's legs are going to become a massive liability.
So we're going to leave you with this final provocative thought. It really is the ultimate clash of European efficiency versus South American magic. What do you think? Do you trust the tactical data, that crazy 37-match unbeaten streak, and the physical freshness of Spain? Or are you buying into the undeniable destiny, that clutch mentality, and the sheer willpower of Lionel Messi in Argentina? We've given you the tactical blueprint. Let us know your predictions, keep analyzing the data, and stay curious as we head into what is guaranteed to be an unforgettable World Cup final.